Welcome, everybody, to another episode of IncCast, recorded live here at Walker Design Studios, the official home for Fanboys Incorporated. Yes, it's my voice, live. Can you believe it? After weeks and weeks and weeks. We never missed a beat, though, getting you guys some great podcasts, especially from Baltimore. And you'll see, well, actually, you'll hear some from Granite State as well, which was just a couple weeks ago. I've been busy, but, I have to have a live podcast. One, because it's, believe it, 100th strong.
Woo!
And really, why do you got to do that?
Because we're 100 episodes in.
Yeah, well, we didn't introduce you yet. Got to be quiet about that.
Woohoo!
Sitting across from me with those hoo-hoos is Mr. Joe Nubb.
Woo! Woohoo! What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's good to be back on Fanboys Inc. Is DW. And sitting on the phone with us today.
Why are you ruining surprises? I lead into stuff.
Yeah, I'm just leading into it by
yeah, but
saying,
I don't do that because I'm not
us.
ready to do that.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Well, anyway, since you already ruined it, sitting in the phone with us is Mr. Artist, comic book creator, Mr. Joe St. Pierre. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Happy 100th anniversary. It's a pleasure and an honor to be invited.
Actually,
happy 100.
Happy 100 to you as well. Last week.
Yeah, my webcomic strip, The Liberator, celebrated episode 100.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I don't know what to say. I can't believe that it made it to 100. I can't believe I actually stuck with it this long. I love what's going on in the series, and I can't wait till 200.
Yes, neither can we. Now we know a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Ink, penciling went into getting each issue out. Now, if our listeners don't understand, when we say 100th episode, you do a panel a week instead of a full page. So it's a nice read as you just scroll through each panel. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't read the series at this point, there's a nice little chunk of story that you guys can tune into astronautinc.com, and there's a nice chunk of story that you can catch up on. So every week I try to post a new strip, and that strip may be a single panel, it may be 4 panels, it may be 2 panels, it depends on the needs of the story at the time. So I'm currently working on episode 101, which I will try to get up later today or tomorrow. So yeah, I try to do a weekly strip. So the day job calls, I have to answer. That's why we don't have an episode on Tuesday. I try to post a new one every Tuesday, but schedules,
Oh man, day job ruins everything. I fucking hate it.
Day job says, I pay the rent, so you pay attention to me.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I got to do.
Before we get into just talking about what's been going on in the last few weeks, 100th episode here today, 100th episode for you last week, and also, Joe, it's got to be the first time in comic book history that we're particularly doing what we're doing with this event.
Oh, right. The 100th episode of The Liberator it premieres several different things, but the main thing that I like about it is it's the very first, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is the very first crossover between a comic strip of any kind, web comic or paper magazine comic, and real life. And so here is the episode 100 premieres the Fanboys Inc. IncCast broadcast. And later on in the story, it will feature the two of you characters as actual characters that interact with the Liberator in the story.
As podcasters, correct?
As podcasters.
Which is another
exactly
first. Which is another first. And no, I don't think a podcaster and a podcast itself has been featured in a comic book form. I know Kevin Smith recently just put out Tusk, and it's based on a fictional podcaster, which I think is really cool that they're using podcasting in that element into the movie.
That is a cool idea, but it's not an actual real podcast person, right? It's an
Correct.
actor playing a podcast.
Correct. It's a fictional podcaster. Where in ours, or yours, I should say, it's going to be ours, and we can tease with the listeners and readers that as you read through the Liberator, you get in touch with the podcast because you'll be using some of the act from some of our podcasts.
Yes, that's exactly the plan. The episode that I just posted, 100, is the very first episode where I have started to quote actual Fanboys Inc. broadcasts. And so I'm kind of I'm still in the process of listening to the show and kind of culling certain bits of dialogue. So I'm going to kind of create this like meta podcast that is broadcast over the course of the story.
Very cool. Now, can you give our listeners a little bit of a teaser of how the characters that we just saw in issue 100, which, by the way, I think is my favorite panel to date, not just because it says Fanboys Inc., just the grittiness. I
love the colors in the panel as well.
I want an original print put on my wall of that. I think it's one of the best panels that I've seen you do so far.
Oh, cool. Well, it's always nice. I like to hear stuff like that because I'm always trying to improve. So when people are saying, this most recent thing that you do is one of my favorites, I think I'm on a good tear there. So I actually agree. The image is the introduction of a group of homeless hackers. They're called the Dregs, and I originally mentioned them in an early podcast. I think I called them something else, like the No Ones or something like that. And I changed the name over the course of my thought process while I was writing the story. And so they're the Dregs. They basically run around after curfew. When you live in the corporate mechanism that is D-Town, where the Liberator lives, 9 o'clock is curfew. And after curfew, once curfew strikes at 9 p.m., the entire town is basically gassed, so that you can't, unless you're a registered employee or you have somewhere to be regarding some kind of employment you have, you are not allowed on the streets of D-Town after 9 o'clock. So, of course, kids being kids, they have to rebel. This gang wears gas masks, and they go out on killing sprees and after curfew. So they're all wearing gas masks, and each one individually decorates their own mask, kind of tribal style.
I like that. I remember when you and I were talking right after that came out, it reminded me of like high-tech Lord of the Flies. I don't know, like face painting. The boys are out to cause some problems, and they do it while listening to a DW rant or two. I don't know if I'd like that. I don't know if I like that. My anger rages them.
You're perpetuating violence and criminal behavior.
You inspire.
Gee, thanks.
When you hate this and hate that, and you wish this guy was killed and DC was destroyed, they get.
Hey! I never said that. Hold on, I never said that.
Wait! I might not be listening to the right podcast. I might have to change this. Hold on.
You're listening to IncCast backwards, which gives you a subliminal message.
Well, that's
what it is.
Well, that's funny that you bring that up, Joe, because that is one of the plots in the storyline.
That's correct.
Is that we are transmitting our so-friendly podcast out to the masses, and there is a secret message being transmitted without us knowing it up front. So I think overall the story, I mean, since Liberator 1's been amazing, but now with this new collaboration, this new showing, and how do I say, exposing podcasts as a true medium and using it within comic book form as heroes or villains as the theme, I think is just amazing. One step further for our geek renaissance.
Right. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's a cool spoiler that we can share because there are plenty of other surprises in this story, is that the Dregs, although they're huge fans of DW and Joe Nubb and the IncCast, they are actually burying inside the podcast itself. And so, to ensure that they're not monitored by the NSA or whoever the local security system is, they bury their communication inside the live broadcast of Fanboys Inc. So that's something that the Liberator, with his hacking skills, is going to discover. And that's when you and the Liberator will get together and have a shindig.
Nice. And we haven't figured out what we're going to be yet. We're still talking about it.
That's actually a great point. I haven't figured out if you guys are going to tussle a little bit or if you're going to have...
I think we should... Well, you and I talked.
I was just about to ask, are we going to have the obligatory two heroes meet for the first time, have the misunderstanding and get into a fight, and then realize they're on the same side and team up against the main bad guy?
I guess we'll have to wait. Joe and I are going back and forth.
We can kind of brainstorm a plot right now if you want. What do you prefer?
No, I don't
you
want
guys are leaning towards heroes, and I wasn't even sure you were going to be heroes.
We can't spoil this on the air.
Yeah, I don't want to do this on the air. No, we're not going to do this on the air, Joe.
Oh, no? Okay.
No, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it yet.
Unless, you know what, our listeners right now, you guys call in and let us know.
So call in. I can't monitor 15 phone calls at once.
or tweet me or
tweet us. Tweet Joe St. Pierre. Let them know what you want to see. It's like a choose your own adventure book.
Or when you listen to this, if you're listening live, or if you listen to this one after hours or whatever, tweet us at Fanboys Inc. Tell us hashtag heroes, hashtag villains, and tell us if you want us to be heroes or villains within this next comic thread. I will be deleting all villain tweets, just so you know. But Joe and I, there was an article. Joe put a little small press release out last week when 100 came out. Asked us a few questions among Joe and I, and to delve a little bit deeper, Joe and I have been talking about this, and I've mentioned this to you, Joe. Just brainstorming sessions, shooting the shit, having a good time, talking about comics, talking about some corporate design work and the stuff that Joe and I do, and then we just started brainstorming, going, you know what, this would be so cool to try this. Doing this isn't something that just happened like issue 98. I mean, this has been something that we've been talking about, taking notes on, going through. So it's really cool to be part of the creative process and the background of actually what goes into a book or in the webcomic. So getting a little bit of a hands-on feel and being part of something, I think, is really cool. And you start to really appreciate what artists and writers go through to put out these books each month.
Right.
It's a good point. We had some great ideas, great exchange. It's one of my favorite parts of making comics is that collaborative process. I always equated a good comic book almost like a rock and roll band, where the vocalist is the writer, say, and the lead guitarist is the penciler, and the inker is the bassist, or whatever analogy you want to decide. But it's all of those elements together, that kind of all of those creative energies and those voices together, which make the creative whole. And that's something that I've always sought out, and it's one of the things that I like best is to kind of bat ideas around, or to work with an inker like, say, Sandu Floria, or a colorist like Steve Furchow, or someone of that kind of caliber, and to see what they give back is quite a treat. So I enjoyed our exchanges very much. You and I, DW, kind of. It has been a while, and that's one of the frustrating things about when the web strip is not the main source of income. I have to do this on the side, and so you and I have been talking about this, since spring, probably.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and so I've had this idea kind of sinking in my brain, and it's only just kind of expressed itself recently with this last episode. So ideally, let's make this the day job. Let's make the collaborative process more frequent. That's the way I look at it.
Now, another little tidbit news. Good news for you. And not only did you hit issue 100, but you also have a new book that got picked up by Diamond that will extend the story of the IncCast, the podcast, the Liberator, and now including the new Zodiac. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just got notice last Friday, I believe it was. Last Friday, Diamond. I pitched a project to Diamond, and they graciously accepted it. And so far, things are going very well. I'm getting quotes for printers and getting the preliminary production stuff together now. So the Liberator, for those who don't know, is actually one piece in a larger puzzle, a universal size picture. He is the representative of the Aquarius sign in the new Zodiacs, which is a group of 12 paranormal people on Earth who each one represents the abilities and the traits of the signs of the zodiac. And next to Diamond, and they picked up on it. They've agreed to distribute it. So now I've got to publish a damn comic book.
Well, that's awesome. We're going to be in web and print. I mean, how this is something that you've been working on for a while now. You've been doing obviously the web strip. You've had printed, self-published, both Blood and a couple other books. You talked about the collaboration that you and I had. Now, if you were like, let's say, DC, how does that collaboration differ? Do you see that now that because it's your company, your baby, that, and you and I are just talking freely, is it easier, or do you get? I mean, is there more collaboration going on instead of the I guess corporate structure?
It's been a while since I've worked for the big two. It's been a while. Well, I did a job for Dynamite about the comic scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find the same collaborative atmosphere that I like to play in the mainstream comics
Mm-hmm.
world, and that may be just because I don't have the level of control over that kind of project that I do over my own.
Okay.
So, when I'm working on a comic book or I pick and choose who I work with, and I kind of establish the atmosphere that I like to see in the creative process. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, I makes sense. Do you understand?
So
You
I'd
understand?
say the last few jobs that I've had, and remembering when I used to work for Marvel and DC, it was more of here you are working. The editor would decide who I was working with as far as writers go. The editor decided who I worked with as far as inkers go. The editor decided who lettered, who colored the project. And I'd say 99% of the time I had never met or even could communicate with those other collaborators.
Interesting. And that, does that kind of stifle your creativity, or?
Well, it certainly, in my opinion, it certainly stifles the potential of what a project could be when one guy has done his part and walks away, and the other guy does his part and walks away. I prefer the, how about if we do this, or I have an idea, Mr. Writer, for if I could tell your story in this manner, and just I prefer that kind of feedback and that back and forth. That atmosphere may exist for other creators in the mainstream comic book world. I didn't experience that much. When I first started in the industry, I started at a company called Valiant, a publisher called Valiant. And my first gig was on a book called Rye. And that was probably the closest thing. And maybe that's where I was imprinted as far as what a healthy creative. Because when I was there, I sat at the table. I would go into work, say 9 to 5, and I'd be penciling Rye, and I would overhear Jim Shooter collaborating with Steve Ditko or collaborating with Bob Layton about story ideas, about decisions, where a certain book would would go as far as, X number of issues down the line. And so I got to quite a few times. I get to see that kind of collaborative atmosphere. And as I think about it, that may have been an experience that imprinted on me, like the atmosphere that I prefer, that I try to establish today. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, for instance, I would do a drawing for, when I was at Valiant, for instance, I'd do a drawing for a cover, and I'd show it to Barry Windsor Smith, who was one of the editors at the time, and he'd say, well, Barry wasn't always the most gracious guy, but he was brutally honest, and he loved comics. And there was no things. The guy was bent on making great comics. And so I would walk in, say, for instance, and I'd have a couple ideas for a cover, and he'd say, well, these aren't very good, are they? Or, this is fucking great, go in this direction. Or, I like this, but if you were to add such and such an element, that would be fucking great. and that kind of exchange would be exciting, and it would be energizing.
That's awesome. I love hearing you tell old stories about your Valiant days, man. That's fucking awesome. Now,
do you remember those?
Oh yeah, plenty of them, man. And I remember reading the books when they were coming out, so that's awesome, man. Now, I think I see your point about the collaborative effort of comic book creating, and I'm in full agreement. It just seems like you'd get more out of it, and therefore the readers, there's more collaboration put into it, so you get a better product out of it overall, as opposed to, it's almost like, I don't know, like a prefabricated house almost,
Yeah. You can still get a house if you have the window guy come in and you have the door guy come in, and everybody does their job. You can still get a decent house.
But it's just, it's a little cheaper.
Yeah, but can you get a house like a church that way?
Yeah,
can you walk into a house and say, this was made with love?
Yeah, Yep.
And I think if you call out some of the better, more memorable comic books of our time, invariably those were comics that were made with love.
Right.
And they were made with that collaborative process. And I think that's important. Now, it's not important just nowadays. It's important to any good product of any kind.
Oh, I agree. I mean, even when we talk about not books, but going into, let's say, corporate design, which you know very much about, Joe, and doing that kind of stuff, I'll sit in the studio by myself. Either it's a logo design, it might be a poster, like subconsciously look over my shoulder because I need to bounce an idea off someone, or I work better when I can bounce some ideas off. Like, I'll hit Joe up at 2 o'clock in the morning. If he's up, I'm like, I need a fresh eye. Joe's an artist, so he's got a good eye of concept and layout and color. I'm like, give me your take on this. Give me what you think on this.
Ding dong, it's a rainy night. Joe's doorbell goes off. Ding dong, and there's Joe opens the door, and there's Nub in his open bathrobe with a logo design.
And I say,
but I find that the studio atmosphere works very well for me, and I come up with the original idea, but getting a fresh eye, or I might be stuck in the same color theme, which I've had before, where I might do a design or a logo, and I'm using, let's say, the same color yellow or the same color green, but not knowing that, a fresh set of eyes or somebody who's seen past work going, that layout seems familiar, you might want to change it up because of this, this, and this, or the layout would work a little bit smoother this way. I'm not proud enough to say, hey, okay, I'll change it if it makes sense to the design. I'll be that by all means. I just feel, and you get a better product. I mean, instead of, the emails are great, the internet's great, Skyping's even great, but having the person in the room working with you just goes so much farther, and you might even be able to pick out what books were collaborated with in a room compared to ones that were just done through emails.
Yeah, that would be an interesting exercise to see I'm sure there are examples for every model. But you know, the stories that I've read, like say for instance the Claremont Byrne X-Men, these guys were. It seemed to me that they were tight. That they, even when they disagreed, you know, in good spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's just, you know, only based on what I've read or heard. I don't have any kind of firsthand knowledge of this, but you know, for me, the Claremont Byrne run on X-Men is some of the best comics ever made.
Oh, totally agree.
Definitely.
Totally agree on
Yeah.
that. Now,
I got a quick question
Go
for
ahead.
you, Joe. As far as the new Zodiac's book getting picked up by Diamond, so how is you going to be doing, you know, sort of new Liberator stories for this publication?
Oh, that's a good question. The main thing is gone by. You know, I see mistakes that I've comic into comic book form. There are a couple other scenes where I'll probably add a page or two
Okay.
as I start to review the materials. But it's mostly going to be the web comic book in print.
That's cool, but it sounds like you're kind of going to do like a director's cut as well. Nice.
Yeah, you know, a second pass to kind of fine tune it, to tweak it. But you know, I've got, you know, issue 6 of Liberator in my head, so I don't want to spend too much doing the same stuff.
Right.
Very much. I think I'm into this. So as I'm kind of drawing pages, I'm on hand
Mm-hmm.
to 6. And so I don't want to spend too much time revisiting what I've already done. I want to move forward. Like you said, you know, the Liberator is one of the best looking visuals. Okay, I appreciate that, and I want the next one to be even better.
Cool.
And so the idea of going back to episode 20 or something and redoing that, it doesn't turn me on at all. I need to move forward.
Okay.
I'm a shark who needs to continue to consume.
Shark Week here at IncCast.
I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 other characters. Is 3 issues of
Cool.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that stuff's been sitting on my shelves for so long. It's got to get out. I'm getting antsy
Mm-hmm.
to get this stuff out. And the Liberator, he just happens to be the character that I'm most excited people and crank out. Like when it's 2 o'clock in the morning, or when it's say 4th and I finished my work, the bills. You know, the Liberator is the one where I have enough energy in my brain where it's like, let's sit at the table for that extra half hour or hour and let's get some of that done. And but I have plenty, you know, of my own creations. So
Nice.
gotta get it out there.
No,
Thanks out there to Diamond for picking it up and giving me the ghost to produce more work.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome.
I can't wait to bag and board new Zodiac's #1, buddy.
Guys, we're also live tweeting. If you want to tweet us at Fanboys Inc. You have any questions for Joe St. Pierre about production or anything in the background, if you're your own comic book artist trying to get into your game, or if you have any questions at all, you tweet us. Today is the 100th episode. To myself, Joe Nubb, Joe St. Pierre.
Joe, did you just squeeze a cat?
Yeah, what was that, Joe? I mean,
Yeah, that's what it was. They squeezed the cat.
Question then, DW, what kind of aquatic marine life would you be?
we'll save that question for. I don't know.
I'd be the noble octopus.
He's noble. When have you ever heard the word noble and octopus put together?
When have you not?
Till to this day, never have
ever,
I. So
ever.
The octopus.
I'd be the lowly.
Lowly. The octopus. You know, you're kind of grabby with the ladies.
I am.
Be a major benefit for you, or lock you in jail real quick. I think I would be. I don't know. I think I'd be a stingray.
Stingray, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like the stingray.
Cool.
Lovely.
That's a good
Quiet, kind of surfs on the
just
bottom,
gliding along.
flying through. But you come near me, I just fuck with you real quick. And I'm gone.
You kill celebrity nature people.
Yes, exactly.
Whoa, too soon, Joe.
Too soon. Hey, at least we're not leaking any so that's a good thing.
I wish we were.
Hey,
I mean, finished. You told me the exact opposite. I think I'm going to have to sign off now.
I leaked a bunch of nude photos of myself, but people are just like, this isn't a celebrity. This is just some overweight guy. This is disgusting.
The cloud just got a little dirtier.
Yeah. There.
Anyway, once again, 100 episode. We've been gone for 3 weeks, 2 weeks. In a couple more weeks, tour, another stretch into the we'll be doing and meet finally. Well, not meet, but see in person. I can't wait for that. Rhode Island's a great con. Unit 5, a skip winner. Myself will be there. We'll be hanging.
Not going to Rhode Island.
Joe doesn't. I think Joe do signs in crowds now.
Into my little shell.
Well, Joe, from what you and I will talk about, we won't elaborate it.
Going.
We're going, but we're going to keep that little tidbit as a tier first in collaboration. I just, once again, I think the podcast, not just our podcast, now using it in a comic book story form, I think is just awesome. It merges two great worlds together, I think, and, just once again enhances our geek renaissance.
Yep, just a lot of fun overall.
And what else enhances the geek renaissance? Let's get into some news. DC Warner Brothers.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Maybe should we talk about the print?
We can do that. We can do that first.
I think it kind of fits with the overall sell.
Want to do that first?
Team up print feature for True, right?
Yes, once again another collaboration I think came from the brainstorming. I think of the comic came first, and then this print came second after you and I talked. And to cons, you know, to and the scenes are like not so much as the characters in the Liberator, but as DW and Joe Nubb in real life with the Captain America shield is myself and Joe holding the Transformer and having the mighty Liberator.
It was kind of like an excuse for me to paint you guys in the heroic vein, you know, for that when you see what you guys look like in the Liberator, you won't be so pissed at me.
This was gonna look like goodbye. Too bad. Nice.
Tough rocks, yeah.
Yeah, tough rocks. Okay, if you don't like it, tough shit. This is
Joe,
what
let me say, I love this goddamn print, man. I can't actually.
Why isn't it your profile?
What?
Released it yet?
Well, I know, but I have it on my phone.
So do I.
It is the it's the lock makes me personally and I'm sure
Well,
DW no man so validated. Just like, dude, we're
clear to me when I listen our work. And I've listened to that show the love for the content that you guys love is so clear comes across.
fine the way it was.
Yep.
You know, but once again, you know, Joe said it right in one of the last really nasty Facebook checks. No, it wasn't. No, I'm kidding, guys. It wasn't nasty. It wasn't nasty. Both of us are told, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I look more from the layout and corporate end. You look more at color. Not that I don't look at color. You're more freer with your designs. So when we're going back and forth, he goes, and it's a win-win.
And
It's just the way it is, and it's over with. It's not like I'm like, fuck you, asshole. I'm not gonna do the print at all. You know.
I think the best way to look at it is just Joe's right.
No,
DW is wrong.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, because you're the
money
one
talks.
footing the bill.
Well, right. There you go.
Bullshit It walks.
But if you guys just take my bass guitar and I'm going home.
Well, that's
it.
Take your bat and ball and go home.
With a single print, I think, and bet all my money on you guys playing together. So.
But what I was trying to get at. He even said, he goes, I know where you're coming from, I understand it, but we agree to disagree.
Right.
And I get his point too.
I think we're the John Byrne and the Chris Claremont of
Goddamn right.
podcasts.
That's right. That's right. Oh, I want to be.
I heard about John Byrne. You don't want to be him either.
They're not listening.
Personal experience.
Let's get into a question. Mr. Will Robson, former artist of Unit 5, and now working on his own as freelance, Savage Dragon, and now working on a couple other books, and one of them being Meadow Rising. Joe, he has a question for you. Any advice for a working indie artist who wants to break into the mainstream of the big two?
That's an excellent question. I mean, I don't know the answer to it. If I knew it, I might be doing more work for Marvel or DC at the moment. But from what, just stay out there as a working pro. And a lot of editors nowadays are looking at indie stuff because you can be seen as a regular producer of content. And that is something that, that's a facet of the industry that's only developed in recent years, where you can be easily accessed as potential talent because you've been releasing steady product online somewhere or in independent comics. And so I've heard that, I don't know if this is true, it's just one of those things that I've heard that, we didn't look at you as an artist or somewhere.
Really?
And invariably, nowadays that's either you're self-publishing yourself or you're with an indie somewhere.
Yeah,
interesting.
So, now it shows the editor or a publisher that you can keep deadlines. You put out a good product. You're spending your own money to put out a great product. You believe in the character. So bringing them onto the big two, or bring them in Marvel, DC, even Image, as we say, the big three, that there's your resume right there. Your monthly book, your monthly web comic, your monthly strip is, if you're saying it's coming out and it's consistent, there's your resume right there.
Well, it also reminds me of DW when you and I were at New York Comic Con, what was it, 2 years ago? But I think we were attending the Cup of Joe, and Joe gave a response of, well, it's like, keep doing what you're doing, and then, kind of like, when you get there, we'll notice you. We'll be noticing you then.
I've also noticed that back in the day, cons weren't as busy, as we've seen such an influx, obviously the Geek Renaissance, where you could have the time to go to a John Byrne, let's say, volumes. I know they still happen nowadays, but it seems less and less, just because it's just cons and an artist, writer, or whoever to have the time to go through a portfolio correctly while there's a line of people. So the con kind of interactions kind of disappeared because of the huge influx of people going to the con. But like Joe was saying, I think the internet's a prime example. If you start putting out, I'm sure, Joe, pretty similar to possibly commercial art with or without an agent. You just freely start sending submissions, right? If you get the email address to the particular publisher or whoever's looking at the editor, just send samples. Is that's okay to do, right?
That's a good question. A few email addresses for some of the larger guys, the contacts at the larger guys, but I honestly don't know if that helps or not.
Okay. Now, let me ask you,
Yes.
is that worth to elaborate on Will's question? As an indie artist, is it worth grabbing an agent? Does that make you look more professional and that you believe in your product and that you're going that extra step to have somebody go out there and help pitch for you?
Well, in the commercial art and or tap for a certain type of talent. So, you know, in the commercial art world, the agent is the source for a certain kind of artist that fulfills the needs of a certain job. I'm not sure how that works in comics. I have tried an agent in comics, and the results are mixed. My experience with an agent in the comic book world, you know, I guess I have enough. I still know enough people in the industry to get in front of certain people's faces well enough that I can achieve the same goals that an agent in comics may be able. In the commercial world, I rely on the agent because it just seems to be that is the standard operating procedure. Is when I'm an art director and I need a certain style, I will tap some of my more favored representatives to find me an artist who fulfills the vision of that job. It may be the case that we're right on the threshold of, you know, that kind of process coming into play in the comic book industry. You know, the way that the movies have kind of taken over the focus of the, you know, the direction of a property. It's just a matter of time before that kind of attitude trickles down into the comic book industry as a standard operating procedure.
I do. I do know. For you, Will, a friend of mine was writing a script, a Superman original graphic novel.
I remember you telling me about this guy.
And wrote the script. I actually have the script here, minus the ending. The little bastard would not give me the ending. But he picked up by DC.
Oh, there you go.
But his, I don't know if it's different for artists and writers, but as he tried to approach DC, and they said, we won't touch you without an agent.
There you go.
Is that for the legal purposes, or for the
maybe for the legal purposes? Maybe that shows you legit. You got to pay your agent. You know, you're not just a fly by night on napkins. Here's my shit.
Right.
So he, through the help of a friend of ours. Well, yeah, he's a friend of the family. You know, Kevin Smith. You know, I hang out with him all the time.
You paid to meet him once.
Yeah, and I didn't pay to meet him twice.
And you got stoned with him too.
No, I can't. I can't.
Your first time ever.
You know I can't do that.
You can't eat it though.
I can eat
smoke
it. I can eat brownies.
Oh, cool.
I can't smoke it. I can't smoke it. I'm fucking not gonna eat a brownie you give me.
I brought some brownies.
But he was in Red Bank 2 years ago when Kevin was filming, and got to meet him because one of his friends knows Kevin very well, and they got to meet, and Kevin helped him get an agent. Once he got the agent, it took about 9 months, and the book got picked up. And it is a graphic novel, original Superman story. Release date unknown yet. Still a lot of stuff to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But Will, hopefully some of these, what Joe and I said, helps you a little bit further. as a writer's concerned, right now, as far as DC's concerned, you need an agent. I don't know how that works with Marvel, whatever. Something maybe we can talk to Ron Mars with when we have him on again, which will be in October 18th. But I find it interesting that no matter how good the script is, they're not going to touch you without an agent. Now, obviously, artists are a little probably different because they see the book or they see the artwork online, such and such. You don't want to put a script out online. That's a lot of reading, or you don't want to give your ideas necessarily away. So there you go. Hopefully that answered your question, Will, and thank you for listening.
So get an agent is our lesson.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it'll work for artists, though, Joe. I mean, a writer is a little bit different, I think, maybe. And it might not be for Marvel. Maybe Marvel doesn't need an agent. Maybe it's just DC that needs an agent. We both know that we all know those two companies operate totally differently from each other. So maybe in Marvel you don't. Maybe it is just sleeping outside and waiting for Casada to show up at the office doors in the morning.
I freaking stalked him outside the bathroom.
I know. He was pretty gracious, though.
He was.
He's like, yeah, real quick.
Yeah,
but he was really cool.
That was very nice. Yeah, that was
His
very
hands
cool.
were so wet, Joe. You could have waited until he got done.
Dude, I got Joe Quesada's tinkle on my hands.
But anyway, let's get into some news. Joe, as always, you can interject as you do. You stay with us for the pod. Since I've been gone, a lot of stuff has happened. Let's talk about DC.
What about it?
DC is now greenlit, not just to pilot, but write the show for Supergirl for CBS. As we also been known, and which you probably know, TNT we're in the works for Teen Titans. Right now, CBS, DC has, Batman v Superman in the works. Looks really cool. The new Batmobile came out. Looks sweet.
Yep.
Looks like the Tumbler, but it looks like a evolution of the Tumbler. Like, it's tougher now.
Edgier.
Yeah, like, okay, we have the Tumbler. That was great for, what I was doing years ago. Now I need something more rough. I got guns, which everybody shut the hell up about the guns. Who cares? He had guns before. Why? I don't know what the big deal is. I'm not going on a DW rant because it's old news. But
I'll go on a rant. Batman doesn't use guns. The end.
No, but he has.
Didn't he used to back in like the 30s?
Yeah.
In the 30s, so there's only 50 years of
he's also
content where he said, I don't use guns.
I know.
He had guns in Batman.
I was going to say the 1989 he was
had guns.
blasting off the bat plane.
And to calm everybody down.
You know what, though? They're rubber bullets.
That's what I was exactly going to say.
bullets.
Remember, everybody, Dark Knight Returns, rubber bullets, hello. Done.
Yeah, he doesn't use guns. I would say the same criticism in that movie. He doesn't use
interesting.
Guns.
Doesn't use guns at all. Yeah, but can we make
Dark Knight Returns, though? No, the comic Frank Miller's, he used rubber bullets.
Hang on a second, though. Can we maybe make an amendment where he doesn't? Maybe he uses guns. He doesn't kill
people.
That's what Batman doesn't do.
Let's say he doesn't kill. Joe, you're awful quiet on that
This
one.
is not Joe St. Pierre's.
Listen, you can have a movie somebody, and then you can have a movie with Batman throwing a guy off a building to his death. That's not my fucking Batman.
Well, that's
right. But he's not killing anybody. He's using rubber bullets, Joe.
It's not your dad's Batman out there, kids.
You can have a movie. You can have a movie where he does those things, and it could be a good movie or a mediocre movie or a poor movie, but it's not my Batman. It's not my version of Batman.
And
so are you saying you don't?
And so, the idea of Batman going on this paramilitary bent it started with Miller, and it was meant as almost like a parody. Like this was the end of Batman's line.
Mm-hmm.
But people, I would make the argument that people have 100% misunderstood what Miller was saying in The Dark Knight and turned him into this paramilitary fascist machine, and that's not what Batman is, in my opinion.
Right.
Okay, then. I don't know. I can't argue with the fact. I can't argue with the fact because you make valid points. You do make valid points.
Yes.
I do make valid points. See, I told you.
I never
You didn't believe me.
Bullshit, Joe. I never say I disagree with you.
But that's the bottom line. It's not your Batman anymore. You know, it's
Right.
it's Generation Z's, or what's the next generation
Yeah, but
after Z?
you
I
can't
think we
say
start
next,
to get into the.
yeah, but the next generation. Look when Frank Miller did Dark Knight Returns. You can't say the next generation. How many years ago was that? That's our generation.
Well, that was back in the 80s, but I'm talking about, Joe was saying, now that Batman doesn't use guns, because he was saying a moment ago that was,
right.
the
Right.
parody. Batman.
So you could kind of make it like an Elseworld.
But the
Elseworlds
new
Batman?
Batman Begins and the Batman v
Yeah,
Superman
But anyway,
belongs to the new generation.
it's definitely the new
Right.
52 version. It's darker. We're going to see a lot of stuff going on with that. But they got the movie in the works. We're talking DC Warner Brothers. They're making a huge fucking move for small screen. They have 6 shows on 5 networks. I think they're telling Marvel, well, okay, you can have the big screen. We still want to play there. We're taking over the small screen. You
Right.
can't touch us. And they started out
Until
with,
Marvel comes along and starts touching them.
I don't think that. I don't think.
Stop touching me.
Yeah,
Stop touching me.
Stop
with
touching me.
your
I'm not
Stop
touching
touching
you.
you.
I'm not touching you. I'm not
Mom!
touching you. Just
Quit making Netflix deals. Quit it. Quit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that was Marvel's. Marvel's got the Netflix with their 4 movies coming out. But
4 shows coming out.
you might as well call them movies. They come out 13 episodes all at once.
Yes, please.
So I might as well be a movie as far as I'm concerned.
Which is the perfect way. I love to just digest my
Binge.
TV all at once.
But getting back to with the DC and Warner Brothers, that's huge, and it's a gamble to go. Each network has their own way of producing shows
Right.
and what they want to see. We have 2 on the CW. We have 1 on NBC. We have CBS. We have TNT in the works, and now possibly even there's another one. Not ABC. AMC might have Sandman. So
I was going to say, half the time I tune into this show or I come on your show to find out what the news is. Do you know what the properties are? You said Supergirl, Teen Titans.
Supergirl this is the coolest thing. Supergirl not only just went to pilot, it fast-tracked right to the series. 6 or 12 episodes already in the book.
Okay.
CW has The Arrow and The Flash.
Right.
NBC has Constantine.
TNT is on the works with a live-action Teen Titans, and we believe it's going to be the new Teen Titans with Starfire's skimpy outfit team. Now that would be Nightwing, Starfire,
Beast Boys, Cyborg, Raven.
My first thought is,
Robin.
okay, you got Cyborg.
Wait, is Robin going to be in the team?
Probably
What about
be,
Kid Flash?
Don't know. That depends on the other properties. And we know Cyborg is going to be in the movie.
Oh, yeah, right.
Not sure if they're going to put him. Now, we know the team, but I don't know if they're going to use the exact team.
Right.
I bet you there is a made-for-TV team member. They always do that.
Right,
they always
right.
come up with somebody like that. And Sandman is still in the works as well. So
Sandman's a TV show?
yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Jason Gordon-Levitt was in the lead
Oh,
for
that's right. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah.
for the actor of Sandman.
Now, is this going to be like the Sandman with the gas mask Sandman,
No.
or the Vertigo title?
Yes.
So I never read, but I always heard good things. Joe, did you ever read that?
Yes, I did. It's good stuff.
Okay.
Season of Mists is terrific.
Okay.
So there
That
you
was-
go for them.
They had several story arcs throughout the series. There was one story arc. It was called Season of Mists.
Mhm.
That was one of my favorites. Also, the Kindly Ones I thought was terrific.
Okay. Cool.
And we can't forget.
Read them.
I know.
And we can't forget what premiered this Monday, once again, on another network.
Gotham.
Gotham on Fox.
Gotham.
So I know.
Did you guys watch it?
Of course I did.
I didn't watch
Well,
it.
my Facebook feed lit up about how awful it was.
And that's funny because after like 15 minutes left into the show, I put on Facebook, I'm like, yep, 15 minutes, I'm going to get fanboy negativism all over on my wall. I got nothing but positive stuff.
Yeah, I actually.
Good.
I've heard mostly positive reviews.
Oh, good. Well, I must have negative friends, I guess.
I think that's it, buddy.
Well, I didn't go on any of the other sites like CBR or anybody like that to see what was going on. Will Robson, once again, big Batman fan. Alec Robson, his brother, big Batman fan, thumbs up. Sean Murphy, thumbs up. Rachel Smith, thumbs up. I don't know about McAfee. I think McAfee gave it like an even thumbs. I'm not really sure if he liked it or
Even
not.
thumb.
Yeah, it's just it
Just
was
to the
an
side.
undecided
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
I enjoyed it, and I think I look at it differently than maybe some others. I look at it going, all right, this is the network. It's going to be flashy. It's NCIS meets, Arkham Asylum, the DCU. So there's going to be some crime drama. It's going to be melodramatic. They got some big league actors in there. I sat down into the show thinking that it's kind of a new history in a way. We don't know Jim Gordon's full background history into what he's doing. I consider this episode an Elseworlds series in a way, where you can get away with certain things. Now we know and I have a superior speculation on this. We saw the Penguin, we saw the Riddler, we saw a man performing a comedy act and kind of not doing so well. And I have a feeling.
Oh, no way.
I have a feeling it's the Joker.
No, very good catch.
Yep.
Good catch.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah. Did you watch the show?
I did, yeah.
So does that make sense to you?
Well, yeah.
Isn't that a cool speculation?
I noticed that they were spending an inordinate amount of attention on a background character.
When they did,
but I totally missed it. It seems obvious to me.
When she did, now when they spent so much time on the comedian, I was waiting for her to pull out a gun and shoot him, because she didn't laugh. She didn't do that, so it leads me to believe this might be a teaser that this could possibly be the Joker.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind about it now that you brought it up. Absolutely.
And
you're absolutely right.
It is it's not tweeny like Arrow and The Flash have become. It's a little darker. Gordon was a little stiff for me in the acting. Bullock, just a douche. And we've known that for years. He's definitely using his badge and his criminal connections to skirt the line. He gets what he wants and does what he needs to do. But this is my speculation. And Joe, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Now, we've always, throughout the years, who made the Joker? Batman. Batman is nothing without its villains. Villain is nothing without its heroes. But as this series goes, I think James Gordon made every villain and made Batman in this series, because he saved the Penguin from shooting him in the back of the head from what Bullock wanted him to do. The Riddler is working with the police department. He's not Enigma who works in another factory. He promised Bruce Wayne that he would find his killer, and he helped him cope with with his problems, and then he asked for Bruce to give him a second chance to really find the killer because somebody framed him, causing Bruce to if I give you a second chance, I need to start doing this on my own, causing him on his journey into becoming Batman. I think James Gordon is the one who created Gotham.
Interesting.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, you mean James Gordon as a model for young Bruce Wayne?
Well, James is the one who created Batman, who actually created the villains. He interacted with all these villains. If he shot the Penguin, we'd have no Penguin. He caused the Penguin to even go further in his interactions. So without James Gordon, there would have been no Batman, per se.
Yeah. Well, there would have been a Batman, but there may not have been a Rogues Gallery, maybe.
Okay.
It seems like the formative event is for Bruce Wayne is his parents being killed in a senseless murder.
Right.
So the story point which I think you're addressing is, which way does Bruce Wayne go from that point? Does he become this psycho killer like the Punisher, or does he go in a direction of law and order? And I think what I got from the pilot was, Jim Gordon is basically a badass, but he's bent on doing what he feels is right.
He's a goody two-shoes with a little, with a little twitch.
Yeah. I don't even know if goody two-shoes is a proper word.
Now,
he's just a law. He's a law-abiding citizen.
Right.
Does that make you a goody two-shoes?
No, but in that city, when your partner's Bullock, kind of does make you a goody two-shoes.
Well, you guys have read Year One, right?
Yes.
Miller Mazzucchelli. you know, I see a lot of that as the source material
I agree.
for this show.
Now, I have a question for you. If, let's say, Jim Gordon found Bruce's family's killer, would he become Batman? Or is it the never ending that no killer was ever found and there was no ending to this story that's why he became Batman?
Well, I don't read enough. I got to say, I don't read a lot of Batman comics. I'm not as well versed on Batman as I am on some other characters, but it's my understanding that, you know, Bruce's parents were killed in a senseless, just random killing. There was no subversive motive behind it or anything like that that I know of. I think maybe Snyder and Capullo may be moving in a different direction.
As well as this show is, too.
This show definitely is. I haven't thought enough about it. You know, I think the intent, you know, Bruce's life has changed through the death of his parents. You know, maybe that will develop and become a deeper issue as time goes by, and you know, maybe that's what makes the character more interesting as he kind of starts to make a mark as Batman.
So you don't think
that there are even more complications to his parents' murder as he becomes more adept at what he does.
Right.
You know, I don't know enough about the mythos to speak
what do you
to
think?
that.
Well,
do you think not finding the killer is what motivated him more until after the fact of his death?
Without having seen the pilot for Gotham yet, as you guys are sitting here discussing it, I'm thinking of Batman Begins, where, you know, they actually arrest the guy that killed the parents, and you know, unfortunately, you know, Rachel Dawes' character cuts a deal through the DA because he was part of Falcone's larger gang, and then that sort of perpetuates Bruce to almost murder this guy, and then, you know, he goes after Falcone instead, and then becomes Batman after that. So yeah, it seems that possibly through the years they've sort of tweaked, you know, because Joe
always seems to be out of touch of Batman. There's never been justice for his family's killers, and I'm wondering if that is the driving force. Obviously, his death of his parents.
Well, I think that's it. You know, Joe, I've always been same mindset you are. You know, it was always just, you know, from my understanding, was always just the senseless killing of his parents, and that is what perpetuates him to become the Batman.
Okay.
You know, it's not necessarily.
I just feel I'm like, if they captured him, if there was an end.
Right, if there was closure to Batman.
Closure to him as a kid, okay, the killer's put behind bars, over with. Would that drive him to go out and be vengeful, I guess, and protect others when the system worked in a way?
Well, now it just seems like we're working on what ifs. It's what if scenarios.
It's a speculation, just a speculation. And if the killer was found, would we become Batman?
If the killer was found and he was brought to justice, and this is my what if scenario.
Sure.
Batman would become a superhero still, but maybe not as dark and brooding as Batman.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
What do you think, Joe? Yeah. Well,
I think, you know, you can go there. That's one of the cool things about Batman is that, you know, he's open to interpretations, you know. We were just talking about him being a gun-toting, you know, shooting.
Wild West.
You know,
gunslinger.
Some people are, well, it seems the vast majority, based on, you know, box office receipts, are all for gun-toting Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so as far as that goes, one of the treats about the character, one of the signs that he is, you know, still strong after 75 years is that he's open to that kind of interpretation, which is kind of fun. Mm-hmm. I thought the show was okay. I thought it was good. It needs a lot of work. I thought it was, for a pilot, it was better than anything I've seen as far as Arrow or S.H.I.E.L.D. or any of the other shows. I thought it was better than that.
I don't know about that. Oh, Jesus.
I would definitely make changes to it. I thought the soundtrack was awful, but I think the soundtrack for S.H.I.E.L.D. and Arrow and all those other shows is just horrendous. The music is horrendous, and people need to spend more attention to how music tells a story.
See, I didn't mind the Gotham soundtrack, only for the fact that it was almost, how do I say this, almost too much in your face of being where this is where I think Tweenie, too much action, Fast and Furious type things with the music so busy for not such a busy scene, but it got you pumped, but almost to the point where it was overdoing it.
Mm-hmm.
Where I see Shield soundtrack's okay, but the acting is just blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're overacting and pushing bad jokes. Now I know Joss Whedon loves his jokes and has been known for it through Buffy and everything. It just doesn't work.
What did you think of the season premiere of Shield?
I gave it an undecided.
Don't go out on a limb there.
Well, no, because that's actually a plus for me because I've given the whole last season a thumbs down. Well, I gave whole last season a thumbs down. This one I can't give a thumbs up yet until I watch the next one.
Mm-hmm. So wait, what do we call it? The thumb to the side, or what's it?
Said thumb to the side.
Equal thumb? Did you call it?
Undecided.
Undecided thumb.
The acting once again,
Yeah.
Making Skye now this badass darker girl, woo, Coulson trying to be a badass sucked.
Yeah.
That's one bad thing I got to say about this episode. Coulson trying to be a badass, making a decision and keeping the team in when they should have got out. Yes, they were successful, but now he's doing things like Nick Fury would do, but not doing them well. It just doesn't fit his character. It's like the editor, you know, Batman's now telling jokes and blowing bubblegum on the streets of Gotham. The editor forgot to help. No, Batman doesn't do that.
Right.
Same thing here with Coulson. They are going on a darker run, which obviously most people like, and that seems to be the thing. If you're brooding in an apocalyptic world and everything's dark and moody, people love it. The Absorbing Man.
Yeah, I heard you showed up.
Thumbs up. The coolest moment, picking up the ball and chain. I was
waiting.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Mike was sitting next to me. I was at your family's restaurant at Old Post Grill. Got my dedicated TV, you know where it is, right there. Got my remote, you know. Everybody's leaving me alone.
Telling people, screaming at people to shut up.
Everybody's leaving me alone.
Down.
You slurp that drink during commercials. I don't want to hear that glass get picked up.
Sandy, I'm tired of your chewing.
Yeah, right. So we see Absorbing Man.
Now, do we see him actually absorb?
More than once.
Awesome. Good.
Which was kind of cool. Looks just like.
He's shirtless, and does he have the black and white stripes?
No, but he had scrubs.
Okay.
He was wearing scrubs or jeans. He was in. They put him in scrubs when they captured.
Well, he was wearing scrubs until he absorbed some denim.
Yes, yeah, right. We see him, but I didn't know this about the character, that he absorbs and he kind of gets off on the when he absorbs something. It's like a high for him. So he is like a hoarder. When he goes out on a mission for Hydra, they give him a diamond. Now he's not selling it; he uses it to absorb to get his high.
So he's
got
hard.
this box of like sand, granite, wood,
interesting.
and he just sits there, and it's like his high. It's like his drug. So
interesting concept.
Yeah. So as he's going through, I'm like, all right, when is it gonna happen? Are they gonna go this cheesy route, and is it gonna be that cool?
Right.
Bam! Right in the first group scene, he's fighting with the Shield and Talbot's military men. Goes wherever, grabs the chain. Here comes the ball. I was like, yes, that was cool, classic. And it was one of those like splash pages, just
strike a pose.
Yeah, exactly. It was really cool. It was really cool.
Well done.
The special effects for TV, not bad.
Right.
Never full transformation.
Okay.
I mean, you had the waist to head. I had half. Another weird part is, I didn't know this because whenever you've seen him in the comics, he transforms completely.
Right.
He touched a piece of rubber to find. They found one of the artifacts. Who Agent Carter, great lead-in, who has her own TV show coming.
Oh yeah.
Was made a sequence with Duggan.
And the Howling Commandos. So that was a flashback, correct?
It was a flashback in 1954 because from Hydra, the leader of Hydra then is still alive now. It hasn't aged worth shit.
Dun dun dun.
But he grabbed a tire to turn himself rubber to grab the artifact so he wouldn't get hurt, and it only stopped at his wrist. I've never seen that power where it was only part of him. Like
that's the budget talking right there.
And it could be. And when he first got shot, he didn't transform. He died. He just took the bullets. Now, I don't remember him actually being able to absorb a bullet as it hit him. I thought he had to be concrete or metal.
Right, for it to like bounce.
So this is something new, and this is how they found the DNA, as they found a piece of the shrapnel, which was his skin, and once it was out of contact with him, it turned into dead flesh, and it was bleeding inside the shield plane, and then they realized it was a person.
Interesting, okay.
So that was kind of cool. I'm still undecided. I got to see. The acting still sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do a better CGI and some cool villains, that's great. Still, Arrow and I've seen Flash. Arrow and Flash still way thumbs up better than S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
And better than Gotham.
Oh, yes. Most definitely better than Gotham.
Wait, you liked season 2 opener of S.H.I.E.L.D. better than Gotham?
No, I like.
Oh, you're
I
talking.
like better than Gotham. No, Gotham's better than S.H.I.E.L.D.
You're saying Arrow and the Flash are better than Gotham.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, he was asking if Gotham was better than S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, okay. Word.
So I'm also asking if it's better that you like it better than Arrow or Flash.
Which one, Gotham?
Gotham. Yeah.
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. I like Arrow so much more.
So I got to check out S.H.I.E.L.D. just because I love the Absorbing Man. He's one of my favorites.
And he didn't talk. You know, he's a dumb brute in the comics. He didn't talk. He didn't say much, and that was perfect for the character. He's just a musclehead. You know.
I want a little bit of trash talking from Carl the Crusher Creel, though.
He didn't say anything, and they did throw in the Absorbing Man.
Good.
They did.
Good.
Lucy Lawless. La 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 la. Xena says, "Oh, some type of Absorbing Man." I'm like, ding.
Good.
Okay, fries are done. That's
well.
Cool.
That's I mean, it's like I'm able to like check off tick
fanboy
off
little
all
teasers.
the boxes.
Yeah, cool
like
little thing.
good. Because we talked last year or talking about last season. I mean, one of my big concerns or big problems with it was like there wasn't enough villains, and like I wanted villains in costumes. You know, we got the Blizzard was essentially born, but
you're not going to get your full-blown comic book costumes.
God damn it, I want that.
They don't represent well. You know that.
Yeah,
not every costume represents well on film.
Yeah, but you could still put the Blizzard in blue and white leather then, because it seems all the costumes have been translated to lizard.
How about you just have him wearing a Dairy Queen shirt and holding a Slurpee cup? Because isn't that a dessert for Dairy Queen?
It's a delicious dessert, and 2 flavors I suggest to our listeners are either Nerds or Butterfinger.
You can have him wearing one of the crunchy hats, the stuff that the Reese's Pieces on.
We're not doing that. Just put him in
Hello.
Put him in blue and white leather. If you're gonna make a comic book costume for the live screen.
As they said, they're gonna put in more characters. Now that's great that you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Is that just fluff? If there's no good writing, I don't give a shit if you put Galactus in the goddamn show.
Galactus is gonna be in S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, you know what I'm saying. It doesn't matter.
Yes, I am in full agreement. But you know what? Post Captain America 2, even a little bit before that, I felt S.H.I.E.L.D. definitely got stronger in the second half of the first season, and I am looking forward to checking out last night's season premiere.
Like I said, I'm undecided.
Yeah.
I need to see one more episode. Like I said, I was the first one on the wagon and defending it. Towards the end, I'm like, I just can't.
Right.
You know, everybody's like digging the shit out of it, going, "Oh, this sucks." I'm like, guys, give it a chance. It's not fucking Avengers. There's no CGI budget. There's no maybe actor budget. It's not the same. We got spoiled with the Avengers throwing Coulson in there. You're thinking, holy shit, we're getting a huge budget. This is gonna be awesome. Wah, wah. It's a TV show with a TV show budget.
Right.
And I went in knowing that and getting it. By episode 5, I'm like, yeah, it struck me, as I've said this before, Marvel and Disney trying to be CW Warner Brothers, trying that pretty people tween aspect, and just not so much working out so well. If Sky's a more integral player in the part and her acting is better, that might help. But putting pretty people in there and having mediocre acting, it's sad to say, at times that works much better on Arrow. The acting's not 100% stellar, but the writing is great, and the way they introduce these characters isn't just fluff. It's integral to the story, and it's not only a character comes in this episode. Well, 6 episodes later, there's a reason why that character went into that episode, and there's a backstory. We don't see that. These are like self-contained stories, villain of the week kind of thing, like X-Files, and I don't like that. I like a continuing story.
Well, I actually, because here's the way I look at S.H.I.E.L.D., and I actually like when shows do this. shows, comic series, whatever. But I don't mind the self-contained episode as long as there is an underlying
Yes,
plot line.
Agreed.
You know,
and this is the artifacts. Okay, fine. Finding the artifact is the underlying theme, and Hydra is behind it. And thank God I didn't hear a Thor reference. That's all you did last season was Thor.
Right.
I'm like, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care.
There's a lot of Asgardian talk.
Yeah, I mean, move it over to Captain America 2, which I think that's what they're doing because the next movie's out. Will we get a Guardians of the Galaxy
reference?
Possibly.
That'd be
Who knows?
cool.
We're seeing a lot of alien talk, or seeing a lot of alien images. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw, there's the alien language that, or the alien writing, or whatever.
Sky is trying to decipher this.
Yeah,
right
Coulson
now.
at the tail end of season 1, Coulson is like writing all this code or language on a board. We don't know what that is.
Sky on that. She's trying to decipher that.
We did see a Kree corpse.
You see a Kree in 1945 as well. In the opening scenes, one of the boxes that they take away from the Nazis is a Kree.
It's like they pop open one crate from the Nazis. What's in this one? I don't know. It looks like a big golden ark. No, that's not what we're looking for.
Right.
Put the lid back on that
one. Duggan tries to go and open a case, and Agent Carter, you see just a part of it, and it's a blue arm, and she shuts. She goes, "Don't worry about it. It's nothing."
Cool.
And so I don't know what I don't know what she's holding away from the Howling Commandos.
Right.
But there's something going on. Obviously, now you got to watch Agent Carter to find out if there's something going to be happening.
Cool.
So yeah, a lot of stuff going on for TV. Tons of stuff going on for TV. Let's move into movie news quick, and then we're going to get into comics. And since this is the 100th episode of IncCast, go ahead.
What? Woohoo!
Okay, there you go.
Squeal, come here, kitty.
We're going to talk about top 100 heroes and top 100 covers of issue 100 covers. And I have my two favorites. Joe, think about your two favorite 100 episode or 100th issue covers. I have my two. While we discuss some stuff. Movie news. The only thing we really need to talk about, well, two things. Really quick, we now know that Black Adam has been cast, and I'll be the first person to say we called this months ago again that it's not Shazam, that The Rock will play Black Adam. Once again, you heard it first on Fanboys Inc. way before all this other shit. All before CBR, Newsarama, we confirmed it 110% that this is going to happen. That's old news. New news. Deadpool announced last week.
Oh yeah.
Now it is
big news.
Now it is somewhat old news because it is a week ago, and a lot of news happens really quick here. Fox bringing in possibly the showrunner here is Ryan Reynolds coming back. So that's going to so that'll put in some Crimson, DC, and Warner Brothers plans, possibly if they're going to use him. He still has a 5-movie deal contract.
He'd better. I mean, all of this chatter
I'm sure he will. It's really leaning towards him. I mean, he's already been. Him and Rob Liefeld have been on the push to do this.
Yeah.
So this will put any hopes, thank God, of Ryan Reynolds playing Green Lantern again.
Right.
Sorry, Murph. That movie fucking sucked. I don't care. So. Great news. I like Deadpool for the character. I'm not a huge fan, and his fans are fanatical. Obviously, we've seen him. The thing that I want to touch on is the outrage now by fanboys saying, "Oh my God, it's only a PG-13. We need an R-rated Deadpool." I'm going to tell you right now, would R-rated be cool in a Wolverine and Deadpool movie? Yes, we might be able to get a couple more fucks, as in the words, not sex scenes.
Because we all need a couple of those just to make our day.
Yes, fucks.
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do. Fight scenes might be a little bit more graphic.
A little tamer. Oh yeah.
But everybody's defense, and screw you, fanboys, because if you're Deadpool fans, you'll understand this. And Fabian Nicieza even backs this up, which even shocked me. The book, if you break it down, has always been rated PG-13. If you look at the ratings and what ratings are in movies, it's PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
Fabian, co-creator of Deadpool, went on a thread last week and says, I don't know what everybody's complaining about because it's not rated R. The book has never been rated R.
Right.
There's no reason for it. You can still put off an awesome Deadpool movie and probably still get 3 fucks out of a PG-13. What is the problem?
And you know what might even make it funnier, because it is, God
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Damn it! I want 4 fucks.
But case in point, obviously, Deadpool has been.
I just realized what's wrong with the Sistine Chapel ceiling. It's got no fucks in it.
But as far as the Deadpool comic, he's always been the fast-talking merc with a mouth, but it's not like he's actually saying fuck in the comic book.
Right.
So what happens if, as sort of a tongue-in-cheek joke, because Deadpool obviously is going to be a comedy,
he says fuck or something, just
or what if
everybody off keel?
Or what if they even just, like, as he's cursing and swearing, they just bleep it out? Bleep, bleep.
It's a funny thing. It's a funny
right, absolutely.
Right.
So
it's
all of you, when it's bleep.
Exactly.
So all of you people, stop fucking complaining because you've been reading a PG-13 book for years.
Hey-o!
So shut your freaking mouths. My other question is, are they going to make it like the video game? Is he going to talk to the fourth wall? Is he going to be that crazy and talk to the listener? Are we going to get a little word bubble? Are we?
Hopefully they take
some of it would
that
be cool.
footage and they just expand on that.
See, now that would be cool if he talks to the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Once you start doing the graphics and stuff, that's a little Roger Rabbit kind of corny.
Break the fourth wall.
I think the fourth wall would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. But PG-13 is fine.
A part of what identifies him or makes him unique in his stories.
Because he talks to the reader. He'll look. I mean, the panels have you facing, and he'll say something to the reader.
Right.
She-Hulk
used to do the same thing.
Did she?
Yeah. John Burns' run.
Or only for when you read it.
Yeah,
she only talked to you.
Yes. She told me to start fires.
Flip that page.
No, but seriously. Deadpool, I think.
It need to be rated R.
No.
No. And is Disney going to do a rated R movie? Disney doesn't do rated R, but they do XXX. So what the hell? I don't know why they do that.
That's right.
They own a porn.
You love to bring this up.
I do. I love that Disney owns a porn studio. I love it. I love it. We can't do rated R movies, and we can't have the Punisher in our film, but we can have more than 4 fucks in a XXX movie. But thank you for that sponsorship. But yeah, I'm happy for it. I think it'll do well.
Yeah.
So get off the R kick and stop your shit. They're not going to ruin it. It's Marvel and Disney.
From a cash standpoint, you're not going to limit your audience with an R-rated movie.
Another great point. Another great point. Because kids are going to, the Dark Knight Rises was pretty dark, and we saw kids at midnight in the theater. I don't see mom and dad are still going to, dad who's a Pinchot fan, the writer, is going to bring his kid to see the movie, and there's going to be a couple swear words, 4-letter words in there. He's not going to care. It's a PG-13 movie. It's okay. My kid's old enough. He can do it. Your kid's still breastfeeding. Well, he's not going to understand the 4-letter word then. But yeah, I'm pretty DC. I think DC's going to focus on small screen. I know the bigger bucks, and Joe, please chime in on this. I feel the longevity for DC and Warner Brothers is going to be the small screen, because in the long run they're going to be able to make more money through advertising and brand exposure. Where now Marvel's doing 3 movies a year, correct? Now I'm not counting Star Wars, because obviously Star Wars and Disney. Marvel's doing 3 movies a year. There's your exposure. You have S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, but you don't have 5 shows on 6 networks, or 6 shows on 5 networks. I think DC knows how to play the small screen game, direct-to-DVD videos, obviously the Cartoon Network and their Saturday morning. Not that they're saying, oh, we can't beat Marvel. Why don't we just enhance what we've been doing for so many years? Marvel cannot necessarily compete with us, and just keep our brand longevity down the road. What do you think about that, Joe?
I have to think about that a little more. There may be a person in the DC department that handles television licensing or something that's maybe a little bit more on the ball, but I don't see one sacrificing one medium for the other. That may be the way it looks now.
Okay.
But the last 3 Batman movies did a hell of a lot better than a lot of Marvel movies.
True, and but the problem is that's their daddy, that's their go-to brand. They'd have Batman. Nothing else. Marvel's got a huge brand now all over the place with characters, and I just think DC's like, well, we're already behind the 8 ball in a way. Let's focus on the small screen and get out all our characters. Make DC, bigger, not bigger than they are, but just get our brand out there, get our characters out there.
Well, as a fan, don't get me started on how DC manhandles their properties. I mean, they've been doing it since I was a kid. They just don't seem to know how to tap the potential of their characters. I mean, I learned this on your show that I think you interviewed Fabian, right? He's the co-creator of Deadpool, and he basically said that Rob Liefeld was inspired by Deathstroke the Terminator, and that's where Deadpool comes from.
Yep.
And so here's a perfect example of Deathstroke, whose his name isn't my favorite, but as a character, and as a character that interacted with the Teen Titans in some really, really great comics, has untapped potential. And it's Marvel that takes that potential, that idea, and spins it and makes it into something huge. So it just seems to me as a fan who's experienced, a few decades of comics history, I personally witnessed the mishandling of more properties by DC than by Marvel.
Okay. It's an interesting
and so
way to look at it.
You can extrapolate that into movies if you want to. You can extrapolate that into TV, or maybe the right guy is in the TV department and he's like, oh, look at all this potential, and he's touching fans' hearts with his ideas.
That would be Jeff Johns. So
it could be, but is he the one who is he in charge of the movies as well?
He's their chief entertainment officer or executive.
Okay.
So he.
Well, there you go. I mean, Johns is a great example of a guy who clearly loves the characters and can bring light to characters and potential in characters that hasn't been seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a prime example of that, and maybe the only example at DC. I'd have to think about it.
You might want to put Jim. Well, I'd put Jim Lee in there. He's
what about Jim Lee? As far as what?
He's like Jeff Johns' right-hand man as far as believing in the characters and really being interactive with what's going on. Unfortunately, I got to say the only
Jim
thing.
Lee works on Batman books.
I was just going to say.
Batman doesn't need help. Hawkman needs help.
This is
true.
You
know what I mean?
That's the downside.
Help.
Well, that was the downside. I was going to say he's worked on Batman and Superman, and
those
didn't need help.
Exactly. Well, good for him. And Jim Lee knows how to manage his career. That's for sure. He's one of the best artists in the last 25 years, for sure, flat out. But he's also probably one of the smartest guys I've ever met. And so, he's not going to handle Hawkman because he doesn't have to. He's Jim Lee. But there are plenty of other artists out there who are excellent artists, who can put a spin the way Alan Moore did on Swamp Thing, who can put a spin on Green Lantern the way Johns did, or who can put a spin on The Flash the way that Johns did, and create some really great, and really tap into the potential of some of these characters. There wouldn't have been a Green Lantern movie, even though you guys hate it, if there wasn't great Green Lantern comics that were setting the comics industry on fire in recent years.
Totally agreed.
That's
and
true.
Jeff Johns had a strong part in that. And from what we've heard, a lot of people, the first thing who's to blame for that Green Lantern movie is Jeff Johns.
Really?
Well,
he helped write the script.
I don't know enough about movies or movie production, but it seems to me that when a really good movie is made that really catches on and becomes immortal, it's more often considered a miracle than anything else.
True, right. I've seen a lot of
again,
sleepers.
It goes back to what we were talking about, the collaboration. You have to have a collaboration between artists who have the same goal. And it seems to me that Green Lantern, the movie, was probably not one of those examples.
Yeah, they missed the ball on that part. I mean, crap. The more of the core, Sinestro. I mean, that was cool at the end, but just come out with the guns ablazing. Make it a galactic adventure. It was more of, I don't know. They're trying to do the romantic comedy or the emotional side with his relationship, dealing with this new power. But just missed the boat on so many great things that they could have to that movie and taking away some of the other stuff.
It sucked.
It sucked.
There are a lot of bases that you can touch with Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Forget about the other Green Lanterns. There are a lot of key bases, story themes that you can touch on Hal Jordan Green Lantern. The problem is, in my opinion, that movie tried to touch on all of them.
Right, all at once.
And you got to keep your focus. You
Right.
got to keep the focus on the story, on what is the point of the story, and you have to move. You have to hang all of your elements on that story.
Right.
And my experience with that movie was, hey, he's a test pilot. Hey, look at this, he flies jets. Hey, look at this, he's got a girl. Hey, look at this, he's out in space. Hey, look at this guy he hangs out with. Hey, look at this guy who's training him. Hey, look at this guy who's kind of the bad cop of the Corps. Hey, look at this guy who's like, and there are too many, hey, look at this,
Right. No,
when we needed to stay on a core idea. And you can choose, like I said, there are many threads that you can hang that Hal Jordan offers that you can hang your story on. You know, you can hang your story on the core. You can hang your story on Hal Jordan, on what makes him who he is, and how what he is helps or doesn't help being a Green Lantern. You can focus on the will. You know, the Joe and I have talked about Green Lantern a little bit in the past, but you know, the core crux of the ring is that it's operated by your will, and not everybody has, you know, the spirit to operate that ring.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And there's all kinds of stories that you could generate based on, you know, if I put on that ring, you know, I got some serious fucking ADD, man, and so, you know, I might think about, I want a sandwich. I create a Green Lantern sandwich, but I couldn't
You got
create.
a green sandwich then.
I
ham.
couldn't, yeah, green eggs and ham sandwich, but I couldn't create, you know, a rocket ship that could fly me to another galaxy.
Right. Right.
I don't have that strength of mind. And that, for me, that's what Green Lantern's story should be about, is that this guy, Hal Jordan, is different than Batman or Superman or Flash, because when they put on that ring, you don't get the same results. What makes Hal Jordan a great Green Lantern should be unique.
I agree. Totally
And
understandable.
that should be explored, and that would be a fucking ass-kicking movie if that was done right.
I agree. I would love to have him have more problems with his constructs as he's learning how to use the ring and figuring out, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to conquer? I mean, you will conquer fear is how you have the green power.
Yeah.
I just didn't like. I also did not feel Ryan Reynolds. I think he had a visual look for Hal Jordan, and I've actually seen him act in more serious roles. But for Green Lantern, for Hal Jordan in this movie, I don't think he nailed it.
It was
Like
National
at all.
Lampoon's Green Lantern.
Yeah, it was
like awful.
Yeah.
Oh, I
No.
did. I got the vibe that they were trying to create the Tony Stark of the DC universe. That
Okay.
we were looking for a
okay.
wise-cracking guy who's kind of arrogant and needed to learn a lesson.
Okay.
Right,
You
right.
know, the Tony Stark model for that would launch the DC universe movies.
Fair
And
enough.
They didn't do it.
And it didn't do it.
No.
Didn't do it.
It's good. Good point though, Joe.
Well, go ahead, Joe.
Why, don't get me started.
Well, we can make this a four-parter.
No more talking about. We always talk about Green Lantern movies. It's
Yeah, I
like,
know.
it
Yeah,
sets
yeah,
the
yeah,
benchmark for
yeah,
every
yeah.
shitty movie that's
Well,
out
why
there.
not? It's 100th episode. We had to bring in the Green Lantern.
That's true. Yeah, right.
Green Lantern movie.
Green
on our
Lantern's
100th
one of my favorite.
characters.
He's one of my favorite DC characters. Even I wish he wasn't called Green Lantern, because the lantern is such an obsolete invention, you know.
Yeah.
I wish he were called something else, but the character and the design and the potential makes him one of my favorite
Agreed.
DC universe
I loved him
characters.
as a kid. Just
Yep.
the thought of making
His
things
costume.
with yeah, his costume was
So
great.
cool.
Yeah, and how easy as a kid it is to buy like a toy ring or to put any ring on
Yeah,
and
that's what
run
you are.
around the backyard or run around the school lot, and you're friggin' Green Lantern.
Yeah.
That and the red cape. I mean, that's DC does have some really cool iconic characters for that
Oh,
reason.
yeah.
You put the red cape on, you're Superman. You put the ring on.
Yeah, you guys
You're Green
jumped
Lantern.
off the roof of your house thinking you could fly, right?
No,
Never.
never.
Oh, you never. Yeah, you
Joe,
never.
that's reckless and irresponsible. What are
Yeah,
you talking?
What are you talking about?
No,
I told I totally jumped off the roof of my house. I totally jumped off the roof of my house with an umbrella.
What are you, the penguin?
I was
Mary Poppins.
totally inspired by all that shit.
You were Mary Poppins?
I forgot what the umbrella was for. It might have been,
Mary Poppins?
George Reeves ain't got nothing on you, pal.
That's right. Let's get in. Go ahead.
I was just thinking I should probably have been dead by like 8 years old.
Yeah, right.
Jumping out of a lot of shit.
Maybe
you know what?
Maybe
though?
you are Superman.
Joe, it was what was it, back in the
30s?
early 70s?
Last week.
The point is, they made, things were made sturdier back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You were
So
made
true.
sturdier.
You were
back
made
then.
sturdier than that.
Yep.
You know what I've been missing out of the last 2 weeks, more so than anything?
Hug for me. Come here, big guy.
No, definitely not. Toy news.
This is a really big hug.
Toy
That feels
news.
good. Toy news.
Give us some toy news.
Hi-yo! Toy news.
I have more toy news.
I have been on a huge vintage toy kick this whole summer. It's been absolutely insane, out of control.
And where do you buy your vintage toys, Joe?
eBay.
You're a liar.
At the Comic Depot at 514 Broadway, just inside Saratoga Springs,
Word it
to meet
up.
all your new fanboy news
That's right.
needs.
And
Fanboy
hopefully they're
Salon.
broadcasting live here right at the store. And the pusher.
Yeah, Chris Kaminsky. Anyways, man, yeah, I've been on a huge vintage toy kick this summer, this spring, this summer, this fall, this entire lifetime of mine. And most recently, I'm getting so obsessed with I'm trying to network with all sorts of friends I've reconnected through high school and other like-minded collectors I have met through the Comic Depot, and just trying to sort of form a vintage toy collectors local network. So if you're in the upstate area and you love vintage toy collecting, get a hold of us at fanboysinc.com or go over to Facebook, facebook.com/fanboysinc. Drop us a line. Let me know you're interested in vintage toy collecting. We'll get a hold of you, and we'll go from there. But anyways, as far as contemporary toy news, there's... No, not necessarily pushing just my wares, but other people's wares, and also saying I want to buy your wares.
Wow.
So anyways, contemporary toy news. Speaking of Deadpool, we have a Deadpool 6-scale action figure coming out from Sideshow Toys. Looks freaking awesome. Looks brutal. Looks dangerous. What else do we have? Star Wars Rebels toys have been hitting the stores out there, ramping up for the upcoming cartoon show on Disney XD channel. Is that it, Disney XD, or is it motherfucking Cartoon Network? Let's assume Disney XD. Star Wars Rebel toys, figures, vehicles. There is also a new line. I think I briefly mentioned this a few pods ago. Like 20-inch tall figures for like $20. It's fantastic.
Wow.
I mean, it's limited articulation. It's kind of more reminiscent of the old Kenner figure. So you get neck, shoulders, and two at the waist. The legs move, and the sculpting looks great. They're just big, fun toys, and they've even got some old school classic trilogy characters in there as well. Chewbacca, Boba Fett, a biker scout trooper, as well as a TIE fighter pilot. So, I mean, you get these giant Star Wars toys for a very reasonable price, which I love. Transformers Generations action figures have been hitting the stores in more frequency now. Rat Trap and Tankor, we mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Two characters who are from the Beast Wars and Beast Machines respective cartoon shows back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But the nice thing about these two characters, they are also featured in the Transformers Robots in Disguise comic book published by IDW. Also, some news that the Windblade figure, the fan-picked character, which was then later written into the Transformers IDW series and then given her own 4-issue miniseries. Her figure has been also cited in hitting stores recently. World of Nintendo action figures by Jakks Pacific. These fun little 4-inch toys of all your favorite Nintendo characters, Mario, Yoshi, Donkey Kong. And most recently in the store, I found Link from Legend of Zelda. Now, I don't know about everybody else, but I loved Legend of Zelda back in the 80s, early 90s for Nintendo, Super Nintendo. So if you're a big gamer fan, hit your toy store aisles and look for World of Nintendo action figures. Yeah.
Nice.
So I think
Is that it there?
I think that's it for me.
Well, we're going to do something a little different.
What do you got?
No new comics this week. We'll get into new comics next week because it's been a while.
I've got
I know you do.
But you got to pick up your huge stack.
My huge stack. And we're gonna bypass our picks for this week. We're gonna do
Word.
something new for next week.
Word.
We're gonna be talking with Darren. I'm gonna
Word.
be talking to Darren about this.
Word.
It is the 100th issue, and Joe and I, Joe St. Pierre and I were chatting off pod the other night and talking about some favorite 100th issues or what were some of the most iconic ones. So I thought I'd change it up a little bit and do 100th issues covers.
Oh.
Our favorite covers.
Hello.
Right off the bat, I'm going to go first. Yeah, give you guys time to think if you have yours.
Okay. I was going to say, because when you mentioned this a few minutes ago, all of a sudden I got nervous, like the teacher just said, okay, everybody hand in your assignment, and I'm like, I didn't even know we had homework.
Homework.
This is...
But you are the comic encyclopedia, so I know you have some already with you. I am.
I may have a couple.
Before the year's over, I am pitting you up against Mike Zapsik.
Cool.
And it's going to be the comic off.
All right.
We're going to put that in the works.
All right.
Cool.
X-Men 100. The cover for me with the two teams fighting, the two X-Men teams
Oh, yeah.
fighting. Very
Well, they were
cool.
up in Bolivar Trask.
Very cool cover showing Professor X in the middle and the two teams going.
Yep.
The only letdown was right in the beginning you found out the other team was a bunch of robots.
That's
that
right.
was the only letdown that I had, but the cover itself, very cool.
Joe, do you remember the story?
Oh, of course.
Of
Yes.
course. Good.
It was right in my wheelhouse. Yeah,
Nice.
it was one of my favorite covers too. That's in my mix.
Nice.
That's one of the ones in my that I would consider it my favorite as well.
Okay.
Word.
What is and we'll go around table. So do you want to go next, Nub?
All right, Joe Nub will go next. One of my favorite covers. I never owned this issue, but I remember seeing this cover through the years.
Let's see.
Avengers number 100.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Barry
there you
Windsor
go.
Smith doing that gorgeous cover.
With
I mean,
Black Knight riding the Pegasus.
Oh yeah. And this is Hawkeye when he was in his, I don't know, I think this was shortly after the Kree Skrull War. Joe, correct, back me up here, please.
Yes.
But if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's Hawkeye is not in his normal costume. Dainty.
He's in his aerobics outfit from what Olivia Newton-John's workout video, the music video there. He's got a headband.
This is a little pre-Newton-John. Newton-John was probably still a teenager when this cover
It's
was
not
made.
even hipsters because he's wearing a skort. He's wearing a skort.
But regardless, anyways, I love this X. I love the cover. It's got pretty much all the Avengers, at the time on this cover. All the classic characters: Thor, Cap, Hulk, Iron Man. It's amazing. Great cover. Joe St. Pierre, over to you, big guy.
Yeah, well, that's also in my mix too. That issue had every Avenger that was ever an Avenger in that issue, except for Wonder Man, who was still dead at the time.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I was right. That's right in my wheelhouse. When I was a kid, I bought that off the rack. So yeah, that's in my mix. But I'm hard pressed for a second place. But there's no doubt in my mind the first place for me is the Amazing Spider-Man 100 cover. And it just seems like maybe when I was imprinting, when comics were imprinting on me, $25. When they were imprinting on me, I was coming in at a time when a lot of the Marvel books were hitting 100, and so I have fond memories of that number, and it made me think that you're probably not going to see many comics hit 100 anymore with the direction that comics are going.
Well, with the damn renumbering system, I was thinking the same exact thing when I was racking my brain trying to think of 100 issues.
You think about the 100th issue in the last 20 years. Maybe there's an X-Men, like one of the X-Men spin-off books, like maybe X Factor or something like that.
Right.
100. That's gone over 100. X Factor's
that was
back in
that was probably back in like the mid '90s. It hit.
And it got
100.
renumbered. It just got renumbered recently in the last couple of years, I thought.
Yeah.
But
What's
the FF 100 covered, back when I was
yes.
a kid, the 100th issues were usually like a review of all of your most fearsome villains.
Yeah, I saw Dr. Doom was on. Yeah, I saw that. I remember that cover. Is that your second choice for 100?
I'll go with the FF 100 just because you guys already mentioned two of the ones that I was thinking about.
Mine's gonna throw you both off.
There you go.
Okay.
Marvel 2-in-1, The Thing, 100. It was the cover of him, The Thing and Benjamin Grimm on the cover together, but it also marked the last of that series.
Oh,
and
okay.
I used to love those series. The
Yeah.
Marvel 2-in-1s, love those series.
Yeah.
You know, honorable mention is Brave and the Bold 100. And that,
Yeah.
I don't remember if it went much more past 100 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But the Thing has always been, I love that, the Marvel 2-in-1. Just love those, that and the Marvel team up with Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thing's always been cool to me. I loved when he had his own series, and I'm still trying to find
Love
it.
it.
And I know I can find it in the dollar.
Go on eBay and
It's
find
still
it.
pretty hard to find.
I'm
That's the
st-
kind
I'm
of one that
still-
I'd rather.
You want to hunt?
I want to
You
hunt
want
for
the
that
hunt.
one. That's the hunt, and I love that series with him.
I'm actually still waiting for Hasbro. Well, Toy Biz at the time, now Hasbro. I want a Marvel Legend action figure of the Thing in his red suit that he
Yeah.
wore in that series.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
No.
say no?
Did you say no?
Come on, give it to me, pal. Give it
First
to
you
me.
said yeah, and then you said no.
The Thing is one of my favorite characters. What is this red suit you're talking about?
He wore a red suit,
Yep.
but it was primarily black, but the I think-
Highlights were red.
Yeah, like where the shadow hit was red. So I think it's one of those things where was it truly red or that's just what they put in there?
It was
kind of
pleather.
like in the comics when the Beast was blue, but they would actually refer to him as being gray furred. You know, his hair was gray, and that's obviously what
blue highlights. Yeah.
No. But it was like the printing process. They could never use gray, and I think initially when he turned hairy, they made him gray for several issues, and then same thing with the Hulk. When he was introduced, he was gray, and then they realized it muddied up the image too much, so they turned him green. They turned Beast blue, but even still, in the comics, he was still referred to as sometimes as gray, sometimes as blue, and now he's just.
But I love that series. Yeah, what's your second choice?
For me, I was actually. It's funny you say this. I was reading this the other day. G.I. Joe issue number 100. This one has personal connotations for me. This is, it's got Cobra Commander on the back.
Traditional outfit too.
Yeah, Cobra Commander, hooded Cobra Commander on the front with the Cobra emblem standing behind him, and he's saying, "I'm back." He'd been dead in the comics series for years. He comes back. He brainwashes this entire small Midwestern town, and it's just Cobra Commander being Cobra Commander.
I would have figured Transformers.
Transformers actually did not celebrate a 100th issue until IDW took over the reign. Yeah, okay. Because when Marvel had the book, it was canceled at issue 80.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's true. Now,
Decent run. How many books make it to issue 80? Not many.
Not many anymore.
Well, these days, no.
No. What book made it to the highest? Is that Spider-Man 700?
Oh no, man! Man.
No.
Back in the '90s, like Action Comics was in the 700s.
Was it in the 700s?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was in the 800s.
Just before New 52 kicked in, Action Comics was around 9-something.
Was it?
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. But there was a comic book in the 40s called 4-Color Comics, and that cracked 1,000.
Oh no shit. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Little tidbit of news there. Little DYK.
I didn't know that one.
On the 100th episode theme, I got a little trivia for you.
What do you got?
Through IGN, they did a top 100 heroes throughout the ages. Now, I have some key ones that are shocking for me, and I'm gonna test your brain on the top 5.
Okay.
But we're gonna start off.
I think I could probably guess 3 out of the 5 of them right now.
You might be surprised.
Okay.
I was shocked when I went through it. I was surprised who was number 1.
Yeah.
I was shocked. But right off the bat, you and Joe, where do you think Supergirl, DC Supergirl, not New 52, not just Supergirl's general, where do you think she ranks within the top 100?
Well, who's the source of the poll? Is this polling 10-year-olds or
No. It's an online poll. It's through IGN that they did at the beginning of last year.
So let's just
so
assume.
random fans?
Yes. So IGN fans are going to say they're going to be comic book fans mostly if you're following IGN.
So maybe what? Let's assume it's 20 to 45-year-old or 25 to 45.
Let's say that, yeah.
So they're a little bit like Wizard Comics back in the day where there were no good comics before 1986 except for Amazing Fantasy number 15.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So yeah, so it's completely arbitrary.
But well, remember,
All right, come
this
on.
was a year ago. This was a year ago. You never,
Best guess, Joe.
Yeah, it's best guess.
Supergirl. Where's she fall on the
Where do
on
you
the
think
list?
that? Where do you think the general or the fans rate Supergirl out of the top
In
100?
the top 100.
Yes.
And I can rate her in my top 100.
Okay.
She's probably not in the top 100. But if you make me put her in there, I would say 90.
Okay, Joe.
All right, I, on IGN's list, I'm gonna say Supergirl is in the 60s.
On your personal list.
On my I don't care about the character.
Okay,
at all.
Joe's correct, pretty much. 94.
No.
Because she's popular.
Why did that
throughout the-
shock you?
Because I grew up with the Byrne run, and they introduced her more. I mean, she obviously was before then, but that's when I got her on. Or I got on. That's when I got on.
That's when you got her on, and then she got you off.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
And since it was a year ago, figuring more into the New 52, the more of her exposure, more of what's going on, I figured it would have been higher in people's minds, and she's more of a hero.
Nobody
But
cares.
obviously-
Nobody cares about the character.
Well,
The problem with
CBS must
Supergirl,
think so.
unfortunately, is that she is a model of Superman.
Right.
And she's
Right.
never had, in my opinion, she's never had storylines that marked her in a unique
As
direction.
an iconic character,
right.
right. Where Superman's opposite is Wonder Woman. That's how Superman's opposite is Wonder Woman in strength, in character, iconic.
Like Superman's counterpart is Wonder Woman.
Right.
However, Supergirl is simply the female version, visually, of Superman.
She's the human version or the Kryptonian version of Krypto.
Well, let's put it. We can put it this way: Wonder Woman is a version of Superman that has its own unique
Correct.
Identity.
Correct.
Correct.
Identity.
Yep.
I agree with you.
Yep. Definitely.
All right. Next up, Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Now this is gonna be, this is not new Ghost Rider. This is a Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider.
75.
Okay. Joe.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
A great visual, I'll give him that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
better visual than Supergirl.
Don't think of Nicolas Cage. Just get that out of your mind right now, because that just ruins every poll.
Oh, I didn't see those movies, so I'm
Good for
thinking
you.
of like Mike Plug, Jim Mooney,
Yeah.
Mike Plug used to do
Mark
Ghost Rider.
Texiera. Yeah.
So great visual, a blazing skull on a motorcycle. You can't beat it. So I'll
As
say
a character, as an iconic character, where do you rate him?
and as probably around 70.
Would you say?
I said 70, like in the 70s.
90.
Okay.
90.
There you go. Like
So-
my mentality
Once
is he's low on the list.
What I did for some of these was pick some of the ones that just shocked me. Going, really? They're not even in the top 20. Go now.
Why would Ghost Rider even come
I
close
don't
to
know.
the top 20?
Maybe it's my personal. I think I'd put him in at least the top 50. Let me rephrase that.
Oh,
Definitely
shit.
put him in the
In
top
your
50.
top 50, huh?
Yeah, I just visually and loved him as a kid. Johnny Blaze was awesome. The Spirit of Vengeance. I mean, it just was really cool.
I mean, I like the Danny Ketch version, but not that much.
No, I like
That's me.
I like the Johnny Blaze version
Right.
much better. The new one, I love him as well, and I got to meet the artist in Baltimore.
Oh, cool.
Got him to sign
Oh,
issue
cool.
number 1 and 2. So
Nice.
the
Very
tram
cool,
was pretty
man.
cool.
Nice.
Once again, my personal favorite. That's why I picked this one. Moon Knight.
Oh.
Now,
Can I do an FYI that Ghost Rider isn't in my top 100 either?
wow.
That's a DYK, I thought. Did you know?
No. That.
I'm
you-
guessing, trying to guess this list.
Did
but-
you know that Joe St. Pierre doesn't give a shit about Ghost Rider?
or Supergirl.
I
or
love his look. Love it.
Yes, yes.
Love
Yeah.
it.
But it
All right.
stops there.
Another an obscure character, Moon Knight.
All right,
Out
Moon
of the top-
Knight?
out of the top 100. Now
I-
we're not using his new. We can't use his new book or his new fame. I guess
Just-
you might say.
Let's just Moon Knight. Just
Right,
the basic
Moon-
general.
just basic Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
1 out of 100.
I'll say he's a mid to lower level. So start at 50 and work your way back to 100. He'll
Okay.
be around like in the 50s or
Okay.
60s.
Joe.
Well, I can rank him. Now, Moon Knight is a different story for me.
He's
because
not in
Moon
my
Knight-
top 100 either.
No, Moon Knight is in my 100
Yes.
because of the work that mentioned Stankiewicz did. Yeah, he
Yes.
would probably be in my top 100.
Okay.
Yes. He'd probably be somewhere in the 70s in mine, and I'm going to guess he can't be more popular than Ghost Rider, so I'm going to say 95.
Okay. 89.
89.
89.
Joe,
More popular than Ghost Rider.
No, 9. Yeah, one more popular. Now, this was a year ago when there was no Moon Knight, really. I mean, you did have him make an appearance in Age of Ultron, pretty much, but other than that, nothing concrete.
What else you got?
All right, we're gonna go down to. All right, Joe, this is for you. Captain Marvel,
Which version?
Which one?
not the newest one.
Not the yeah, but my point is
The Marvel version or the
No,
DC,
I'm sorry, DC.
so Shazam.
Shazam,
the
yeah.
Shazam
Oh.
Captain Marvel?
Yes.
Oh, he's not in my 100 at all.
The fuck, Joe? Jesus. I don't think there's enough characters that you keep not putting in the 100. There's no characters left.
He will be in the 40s
Okay.
of this
So
list.
you have to guess what 20-somethings are going to say?
Well,
He's
listen,
less
Joe-
than Ghost Rider. He's
Joe.
got 100.
Joe, it's us through it's 20 to 45 range.
Yeah, I'm going to say 100. He's in last place.
51.
50. I got it right.
Yeah, 51.
I got it closest.
Good for him.
Good for you.
Good on you, Billy
buddy.
Batson.
All right. Deadpool.
He'll be top 20.
You're wrong.
Where is he?
31.
Oh,
Wait, don't say. Let us guess. That would have been
sorry.
a tough one.
Sorry, 31. Well, Joe, top. Now,
Just so
I
you
thought
know,
he would have been in the top 10.
Deadpool's not in my top 100.
No.
No.
Shit, I don't even know if I count him as a superhero.
All right, Joe. This is for you first. Barry Allen, top 100.
Barry Allen Flash?
Yes.
Well, I know where he would be in mine. He'd probably be in the 30s somewhere, so
Okay.
I'll say 31.
Yeah, I bet you he's getting. No, I think we just established Deadpool's 31. No, but seriously, I bet you Barry Allen's going to be in the top 20.
49.
49. Wow.
49.
Jesus.
Wally West in somewhere of the top 10.
Huh.
Wait, say that again?
Wally West Flash is in the top 10.
No shit.
Really? Is this all DC? This isn't all DC characters. Wally West is in the top 10?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go on to some of our classics. Iron Man. Not anything from the movie. Well, you could probably put him in the movies.
Yeah,
And
but
maybe
just basic Iron Man.
basic Iron Man.
Tony Stark,
Just
Iron Man.
Tony Stark,
I bet
Iron Man.
he's 17.
I'm gonna say ballpark. I'll say 24.
Okay, 12.
Huh.
Now
Really?
you
Good
would,
for him. Great.
you would think that he'd be in the top 10. That's what I thought when I started going over this list. I'm like, this is all.
You know, there aren't enough spaces in the top 10.
Like I'm literally
No, I
thinking.
understand
All
that, I
right,
understand.
top 10. I'm thinking. Spider-Man's got to be there. Batman, Superman's in there. I'm sure Wonder Woman might even have made the list. Captain America.
Wolverine.
Wolverine probably. The Hulk possibly.
Yes.
Like start feeding us.
Okay.
10, 9, 8. Let's hear it.
Okay. 10's gonna shock you.
Well, it's Wally West.
It's
No, Wally
It's
West.
Herman
No,
Schultz.
it's not Wally West. He's in the top 10, but he's
I
not
just made
10.
a funny joke.
Yes, I got you. Daredevil.
Hey,
Yeah,
good for
number
him.
10.
Fucking A.
Fucking A. Way to go there, man.
God's lips are here. Fucking A.
People love a blind man. Number 9, the Hulk.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 8, Wally West.
No shit. Okay.
What?
Yeah, there's that cat again. Number 7.
I can see Green
Why
Lantern.
you wouldn't see that as number 7, Joe?
I could see Green Lantern in the top 10.
Well, I'm comparing him to the Hulk. Hulk was I don't even like the Hulk that much, but as an iconic character,
He's up there.
more important than Hal Jordan, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm gonna do number 6, and then I'm gonna let you guess the top 5.
Okay.
Number 6, shocking for me, maybe not shocking, but Captain America. He didn't even make it to the top 5.
That's
He's
not.
my number 2, so
I don't
he
find
should
that
be-
unbelievable.
Okay. Your top 5.
All right, top 5. I would say somewhere in no
Give me
particular
5.
order.
No, give me 5.
Yeah. Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman,
No particular order.
Wolverine.
Okay. Well, you just gave 6, didn't you?
No, I just gave 5. Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Wolverine.
Okay.
I'll bet you the majority of those characters that I just named are in the top 5.
They're all in the top 5.
No shit.
Yeah.
I just nailed the top 5.
But you don't
Yeah,
know
now,
which.
But you don't know.
But you don't know which order.
Okay. All right.
Let Joe. No, Joe wants to try the order. Those are all the top 5. What's
right.
the order, Joe?
Joe, you go first, and then I'm going to give my
Number
order.
5, Joe.
Oh, okay. That's pretty much what I would have said too. So Joe nailed it. I'm going to say Batman is at number 1. Spidey's number 2. Superman is number 3. What was the 4th one?
Wonder Woman and Wolverine.
Wolverine is 4, and Wonder Woman is 5.
You got
All right.
that?
Don't break it. I want to give my list. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to say Spidey's number 1.
Oh, you're awesome.
Did I get it?
No, you're both wrong.
Get the fuck out. Who's number 1?
Number 5 is Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Number 4 is Wolverine.
Okay.
Number 3
Superman is number 1 then.
is Spider-Man.
No shit.
Number
Cool.
2 is Batman. Number
Cool.
1 is fucking Superman.
No shit.
Good.
Most popular
Now-
superhero.
That's the way it should be.
Now, in our poll that we did, we had Spider-Man beat Superman and Bats in the
Yeah.
most iconic characters.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then we found a most current hero, most popular hero, not iconic, which was a different poll, was Batman. Supes didn't even show up.
No.
So this is very interesting for me. I would have not thought Supes. I figured Supes would be in the top 5, maybe number 2. It was going for Batman or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see that Superman is number 1.
That's pretty cool.
I'm happy to see that, actually. It's weird.
Why? Because Superman's not in your top 100 either, Joe?
Superman will
It's
be in my
Superman.
top 100, but he's certainly not in my top 5.
Really? Okay. Who is your
But
person? Who would be your
Superman
personal?
was the first icon, and so he needs props.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
Who's
Yep.
in your top 5? Your personal top 5, Joe?
My top 5?
Yep. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be just Marvel and DC, but any characters.
It's probably Captain America. I've never really broken it down this way,
Right.
but I would say the Thing, Thor, Wolverine, and Cyclops are in that mix, and
That's cool.
Hawkeye.
Yeah, the Thing was in the top 50. Aquaman was 52
Cyclops in that mix?
in the 80s.
Okay.
Spawn made it in.
Huh.
Ant-Man. Who the fucking gives a shit about Ant-Man? 67.
Wow.
But he's in there. I thought that was kind of cool. Nightcrawler, 80. Just some of the ones I picked out going, this is kind of weird
Yeah.
how this order works. But, yeah. Guys, tell us who you think your top 5 is. Tweet us over at Fanboys Inc. or leave us a message at fanboys.com/Fanboys Inc. Tell us who your top 5 characters are. Doesn't have to be the big 2. This was the big 2 here.
It doesn't have to be the big 2,
no,
but
definitely
mine
not.
was the big 1. Oh,
But we'd love to hear what you think. Tweet us over on Fanboys Inc. At Twitter. Also, I just want to. We got a tweet here. What do we got? By now, you've heard our new friends Fanboys Inc. on our latest. Now go listen to the clergy invade their show. Oh, cool. Nerd Church. I did an interview with them in Baltimore, and then they interviewed us, me and Skip Winter, and then I interviewed them on this past week's IncCast on
nice.
part 2, Nerd Church
Oh, very
Podcast. Awesome. Go check them out at nerdchurchpodcast.com. And all they're tweeting our show. That's pretty cool. Thanks, guys, for Nerd Church Podcast. Awesome, guys. Michael J. Petty, Fanboys Inc. Congrats on the 100, guys. Love to call in or something, but I'm busy with class right now. Good luck and keep going. Well, thanks, Michael J. Petty.
Nice.
They do an Arrow podcast and a couple other podcasts, DC-oriented. Great guys over there, acrosstheairwaves.com. So go check them out as well over there. So this was pretty fun. Oh, you know what? One more thing. Dick Grayson.
Where's
oh yeah, he's in my top 10.
Where's Dick Grayson and where's Tim Drake?
Tim Drake's in the 20s.
No shit.
Dick
Good.
Grayson is number 11.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buddy.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damon
Yeah.
didn't even make it, little bastard.
I would not. I'm not surprised. What about Jason Todd? Is he on there?
Jason Todd, yes, but I want him, if I was correct in saying in the 40s or 30s.
Okay.
So they are in the top 50. Next week we might, you and I will do the top 100 villains,
Cool.
which is funny because our fans are different from this poll. And I'm going to do more research on where this poll 100% came from, and where if there's a full demographics of this, because our fans are different from these answers. And I mean, our fans are great. They're hardcore. A lot of them are hardcore fans. They're not the stereotypical fanboys, but they're hardcore fans. So it's interesting.
Hey, where's the Punisher in that list?
I don't remember if he was in there because I don't know if they classified him as a hero. I'll have to double check.
Deadpool's in there.
Well, yeah, that's true too. No, it's true. I'll have to check to see where he's rated.
Huh.
I know he's not in the top 20. I do know that Punisher didn't even make it to the top 20.
Wait, did you write down all 100 characters?
No, I just remember
okay, just a few of them.
I just remember the most of the ones that I keyed here, and then the top 11.
Where's Hawkman in the top 100?
He ain't.
He ain't.
But
oh, Hawkman! I shed tears for Hawkman.
Before we go, before we round this up though, Joe, I do want to talk to you a little bit about this fascination with Hawkman. Are you upset?
What is it about bare-chested men dressed as birds?
About is it something to do with the Victoria's Secret model wings? Is it is it the big brawny arm from Chippendales, or is it
Although I will say I loved his action figure out of the Superpowers line in 1985.
Cool. But seriously though, Joe, all kidding aside, you did a print that hopefully we'll get to see at Rhode Island of Hawkman. Is this something new, or has this always been a character for you that you really, I don't know, connected with, or what's the fascination with this character?
Probably when I was a kid, I was imprinted upon by the Justice.
Word of the day, $45. Imprinted.
Number 8 and the letter and the word imprinted.
That's just being a kid picking up Hawkman, and it's like, this fucker's badass looking, and he's got these giant wings. And then later, as an adult, like reading the Joe Kubert stuff, and reading the text where he is said something to the effect of, he's Thanagarian, he's an alien, so his body can withstand the rigors of space.
Right.
A shirtless skin as an adult, I know. In an atmosphere, it's either 200 degrees above or below zero.
Yeah.
And so my brain is just exploding with ideas like, what is this guy freaking made of? He can level and these kind of temperature extremes. And then my brain just went off, and it was like, holy crap, what is he made of? Let's find out.
Now, you would think him being able to do that, like Aquaman in years past, not treated as strong as the image. How do I explain it? He doesn't seem as strong. His strength level doesn't seem as high as you would think it is because of the imagery, him being out in space, him being able to take the temperature extremes. But then when he goes up against, let's say Superman, he crumbles completely. Like he should be stronger than he's represented. Not saying Superman per se, but I'm saying his strength level should be taken more seriously, like the new current Aquaman. Aquaman is no joke anymore.
I don't know if I would go in that direction. I mean, there's the idea of another character who's super strong, like Superman.
Well, I just threw Superman as an example. Like he's not as weak as they.
I wouldn't go there with the character. That's kind of what I'm saying. And so, yes, maybe the way Aquaman can withstand, the ocean depths. He's got to be powerful. He's got to be able to move under all that weight. So he's got to be somewhat super strong.
Right.
I don't know if I need to go in that direction with Hawkman. Some of the best comics I've ever read were Frank Miller's Daredevil, who's a very human level.
Correct.
Strength-wise, I don't know if strength is the answer for an alien who can withstand the rigors of space. He may have other skills. I never thought of it much beyond that idea, but if you want, let's brainstorm. We can do it now.
Welcome to
Brainstorm. Who can withstand radiation? What are you made of?
Right, right. I mean, is it just are you just
muscle and
dense skin?
tissue? Probably not.
Right.
It's thick Thanagarian skin.
Right. And now, are the characters the the winged warriors in Flash of the Gordon look very
They're Thanagarian.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
You know what always threw me off about Hawkman too? Like, if I'm not mistaken,
wasn't there two different versions of him too?
Well, that's it. Wasn't
one
his...
with real wings and then one with
exactly
implants?
the fake wing thing, like the not the belt buckle, but what do you want to call it? You know, like the chest harness. Like, those were clip-on wings, and I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah,
why not just make those real wings?
But he had real wings.
The wings don't even give him power. The wings are ceremonial. It's like wearing a sergeant's badge.
But how does he fly?
The wings aren't even
That's a big-ass sergeant's badge.
He wears on his chest, which allows him to fly. Did you know that?
Wait, what is it?
Say that again?
The wings aren't what allows him to fly. It's the belt, the chest belt that he's wearing on his metal, and that's what allows him to fly. The wings are ceremonial. It's like a sergeant's stripe. They're ceremonial uniform. He's like the equivalent of Thanagarian police.
Has that always been that way, that he didn't have real wings?
Silver Age Hawkman, yeah. He's never had wings that were attached to his body.
Why do I think that? I always thought he did.
Well, didn't they
I thought they did that when the Grant Morrison's run on Justice League.
Didn't they change his origin so that the wings are real?
Well, again, I haven't read a lot of Hawkman comics.
Right.
I do remember like '90s Hawkman where he had like Wolverine claws and he was suddenly all covered in hair like Wolverine.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that was like, I'm not reading that shit. That's not Hawkman in my opinion.
Right.
You know, that's a cash-in on Wolverine.
Right.
This warrants further investigation.
Yeah, we're going to investigate that. If our listeners can tell us, that'd be great. Over on Twitter at Fanboys Inc. or at Facebook.com/Fanboys Inc. Well, we should round this up because we're hitting just about the 2-hour mark, and that'll be 2 weeks in a row of a 2-hour podcast. I could go for hours more with Joe St. Pierre. Always great talking with him. Joe, thank you so much for coming on again and joining us on this 100th episode. Please tell everybody where they can find you and what to look forward to in the future.
Oh boy! Well, we have the Liberator Fanboys Inc. print, which will be available at a convention near you. We have web comic strip, which hopefully will come out weekly. Cross your fingers. And you can find me at astronautinc.com, and you can find me on Facebook, Joe St. Pierre. I think it's joe.stpierre. And then I'm also on Twitter at Joe_St. Pierre.
Very nice, very nice. Now, the next con you will be at will be with us. I'll be meeting with you at Rhode Island, correct?
I know I'm doing a signing at Hall of Heroes on October 3rd.
Yeah.
And there may be another convention in between. I'm still deciding.
But you are doing Rhode Island. That's in November.
But Rhode Island is a definite. What's the date on Rhode Island again?
I want to say it's the second. It's the second weekend in November, I believe.
Okay, great.
And
cool.
Yeah, also coming up in November, the Albany Comic Con. That's right. We'll be there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be talking with John in the coming months, once it gets closer, talking about what's going on with the con, his fall, fall session for Albany Comic Con.
You're having John on the show.
Yeah, we try to have John on the show the week prior to the con or 2 weeks prior, just to talk about the show, what's going on, who's going to be there, anything special, because they always do try to do something special as a variant cover or gift bag or artwork. So we always like to give John some props, and he's always great. He's got some great stories to talk about.
Oh, I love it when he's on the show. You should have him on more often.
Okay, well, we'll take that as a Joe St. Pierre request, and we'll put that in our suggestion box.
Make it so.
Yes, sir. Onward. Good to have you back, Joe. Or I should say, I'm good to be back with you in the same room.
High five.
All right, Kazaa.
Yeah, man.
100th episode, spectacular. Woohoo!
So thank you so much, guys, for listening. As always, check us out on iTunes and Stitcher. Please subscribe. I say Stitcher because it is multi-platform. Please subscribe to our network. Leave us a review if you can on either. It does help us stay on the air and help us our rankings. Yeah, and make sure to check out fanboysinc.com. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Some new staff. Good friend Jeff Ayers is doing a DC review for us for Multiversity. Every issue that's coming out, he'll be taking over the chores for that. And there will be a couple others as well. New staff. We got some new additions, so that's always cool. And yeah, check out some of the movie news that's going on and everything else.
Nice.
So,
that's it for me.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Anything else?
What are you doing today?
That's it.
Nothing? You're not going to do anything else today? You're just going to sit here? What are you doing for the rest
I
of
got
the day?
yard work.
Yard work. Oh, yeah, you're a homeowner.
I know.
That's crap.
Yeah, I got.
Oh, you like that homeowner stuff?
I love it.
Good.
I love it. I just had my hot water heater replaced at the low price of $600. I love it.
I love it when that happens, man. That's great.
Sign me up for another.
So, anybody
you.
want to tell me what the advantage of being a homeowner is?
You're not paying somebody else's rent. You're paying your own mortgage instead of somebody else's.
For what? For you to
I
pay
love
for
it
your
when
own
you gotta
bill?
read
Wait a minute.
shingles to roof too. That's
Well,
awesome.
see, once again,
Yeah.
so I'm paying rent for somebody else's house that when something breaks, I don't have to pay for. I don't have to mow the lawn. I don't have to shovel. I don't have to take out the garbage. Oh, and I don't have to replace shingles. So once again, the advantage of being a homeowner is what? That I could shit on my own carpets?
I could if I wanted to.
But you know what? Even if I did that, I could still have the landlord pay for that.
You're
No, you got to go rake up some leaves or do whatever you got to do. Mr. Joe St. Pierre, thank you so much again. You know, you and I will be chatting soon offline. I can't wait to see issue 101. Guys, go check him out. Issue 100 came out last week. The premiere of Fanboys Inc. podcast being listened to by some derelicts, the dregs. So go check it out. Joe, thank you so much.
Joe,
No
great chat
problem.
with
You're
you,
the
buddy.
best.
Later, nerds.
Peace.